Captain Elena Vasquez stared out at the stars from the bridge of her research ship. The Prometheus moved slowly through the dark space at the edge of human territory. Her crew of 40 scientists and soldiers worked quietly around her. They were checking sensors, running tests, and watching for any signs of trouble. Elena had been doing this job for 15 years. She knew every planet and space station in this part of the galaxy. The work was usually boring, but today felt different. Something was wrong. She could feel it. "Captain," called out her communications officer, Lieutenant Torres. "We're getting strange readings from the New Eden colony. Their regular check-in signal is 3 hours late." Elena frowned. New Eden was a farming colony with over 2 million people. They grew food for dozens of other human worlds. The colonists there were careful people. They never missed their scheduled communications. "Try raising them again," she ordered. Torres worked at his controls for several minutes. His face grew worried. "Nothing, Captain. Complete radio silence." Elena thought about the rules that humans had made when they first met alien races 50 years ago. Back then, Earth's leaders had signed treaties with powerful alien empires. The HFY, the Confederation Council, the trade guilds, they all saw humans as young and weak. But Earth's negotiators had insisted on one rule that could never be broken. They called it the Red Line. Any attack on human civilians would bring total war. The alien leaders had laughed at this. They thought humans were trying to sound tough when they had no real power. Elena remembered learning about this in the military academy. Her instructors had been very clear. The galaxy thinks we're weak because we choose peace. They don't understand that we're not weak. "We're just waiting, Captain," shouted her sensor officer. "I'm picking up debris in the New Eden system. Massive amounts of it." Elena's blood went cold. "Set course for New Eden. Maximum speed." The Prometheus jumped into hyperspace. The trip that usually took 2 days now took 6 hours. When they dropped back into normal space near New Eden, Elena saw something that would haunt her forever. Where the colony should have been, there was nothing but glowing chunks of metal and rock. The planet's surface was burned black. The orbital stations were gone. The farming platforms that fed millions of people were now twisted wreckage floating in space. "My God," whispered Torres. "What happened here?" Elena's science officer, Dr. Kim, was running scans as fast as she could. "Captain, I'm reading massive radiation signatures. Plasma bombardment patterns. This was done by HFY weapons. Multiple ships, coordinated attack." Elena felt sick. Over 2 million people had lived on New Eden. Farmers, teachers, children, families. All of them were gone now, turned to ash by alien weapons. "How long ago?" she asked. "Based on the radiation decay, I'd say 12 hours. Maybe 14. Elena closed her eyes. 12 hours ago, families were eating breakfast. Children were going to school. Farmers were tending their crops. Now there was nothing left but radioactive dust. "Captain," Torres said quietly, "I'm getting an urgent transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Chun wants to speak with you immediately." Elena nodded. "Put in through." The main screen flickered and Admiral Chun's face appeared. Elena had served under Chun before. He was known for being calm under pressure. But now his eyes looked different, cold, dangerous. "Captain Vasquez," Chun said. His voice was perfectly steady. "You are to return to Seoul immediately. Leave a sensor buoy to monitor the area. Operation Pale Horse is now active." Elena felt her heart skip a beat. She had heard whispers about Operation Pale Horse in classified briefings. It was supposed to be a theoretical plan, a last resort that would never actually be used. "Sir," she said carefully, "did they really cross the red line?" Chen's expression didn't change. 2.3 million civilians, Captain. Farmers and their families. No military targets. No warning given. They wanted to send us a message about knowing our place in the galaxy. Elena looked back at the floating wreckage that had once been a thriving world. What are our orders, Admiral? Return to Seoul. Report to Defense Command for new assignment. And Captain? Chun paused. God help them all. The transmission ended. Elena stood in silence for a moment, thinking about what this meant. For 50 years, humans had been peaceful members of the galactic community. They traded, explored, and built colonies. Other species saw them as weak but harmless. That was about to change. Torres, she said, send a message to all human ships and colonies. Use Emergency Code 7. Torres looked shocked. Emergency Code 7 hadn't been used since the first alien contact. It meant that humanity was now at war with an entire species. Captain, Dr. Kim said quietly, what's Operation Pale Horse? Elena watched the debris field slowly spinning in the darkness. Somewhere in that wreckage were the remains of her cousin Maria and her 3 young children. They had moved to New Eden to start a farm. They had sent Elena pictures of their first harvest just last month. It's what happens when someone crosses humanity's red line, Elena said. The aliens think we're weak because we choose to be peaceful. They're about to learn the difference between being unable to fight and choosing not to. The Prometheus turned away from the ruins of New Eden and jumped back into hyperspace. Behind them, automated sensor buoys began recording everything. The data would be evidence for what was coming next. Elena didn't sleep during the journey back to Earth. She kept thinking about the HFY Empire. They controlled hundreds of worlds. Their fleets had conquered other species for thousands of years. They thought destroying one human colony would make humans back down. They were wrong. As the ship approached Earth, Elena received another transmission. This time, it wasn't from Admiral Chun. It was from the Defense Ministry itself. All human ships, the message said. All human colonies. All human citizens. Effective immediately, humanity is withdrawing from all galactic treaties and trade agreements. Any alien ship approaching human space will be destroyed without warning. This is not a negotiation. This is not a threat. This is a promise. Elena smiled grimly. The galaxy was about to learn something important about humans. They were very good at keeping their promises. Admiral Chun stood in the war room deep beneath Earth's surface. Around him, hundreds of officers worked at computer screens showing every human world in the galaxy. The room had been built 50 years ago, right after first contact with alien species. Most people thought it was just another government office building. They were wrong. Status report, Chun said to his chief of staff. Colonel Martinez. All Guardian arrays are powering up on schedule, Martinez replied. Activation will be complete in 6 hours. All human colonies have confirmed receipt of Protocol 7 instructions. Trade with alien species has stopped completely. Chun nodded. Protocol 7 was simple. All humans would immediately stop talking to aliens. No trade, no diplomacy, no communications at all. The galaxy would suddenly find that 30 billion humans had gone completely silent. Dr. Sarah Kim walked into the room carrying a tablet computer. She was the scientist who had designed the Guardian arrays. For the past 30 years, she had been working on humanity's greatest secret. Admiral, she said, the Confederation Council is demanding answers. They want to know why we've cut off all communication. They're calling it an overreaction to a minor incident. Chun's jaw tightened. Minor incident? They killed 2 million civilians. The HFY are telling everyone it was just a demonstration. They say they wanted to remind us not to expand too aggressively into their territory. Chun turned to look at the main display screen. It showed the positions of every human ship and base in the galaxy. To alien eyes, it looked like humans were pulling back, getting ready to hide and surrender. The aliens had no idea what humans were actually doing. "Dr. Kim," Chum said, "explain to me again how we've been preparing for this day." Kim activated her tablet, and the main screen changed. Now it showed something the aliens had never seen: the true extent of human presence in space. Every colony ship we've sent out for the past 50 years carried more than just families and supplies, Kim said. Hidden in their cargo holds were components for Guardian arrays. The colonists thought they were building farms and cities. They were also building weapons platforms. The screen showed hundreds of small dots scattered throughout human space. Each dot was a Guardian array, disguised as a communications relay or mining station. The aliens saw us as eager traders, Kim continued. We bought technology from every species we met. We said we wanted to learn about their cultures and sciences. Chun smiled coldly. What we were really doing was learning how to kill them. Kim nodded. Every piece of alien technology we acquired, we studied, improved, and weaponized. The HFY plasma cannons they're so proud of? We've built versions that are 3 times more powerful. The Kithara stealth technology? Our ships can become completely invisible. The Melody gravity manipulation? We can create artificial black holes. A communication alert sounded. The screen switched to show Ambassador David Torres aboard the human diplomatic ship near the Confederation capital world. Torres was Earth's representative to the galactic community. Right now, he was surrounded by angry alien leaders demanding explanations. "Admiral," Torres said through the communication link, "the Confederation Council is threatening to impose sanctions on humanity. They want us to resume normal diplomatic relations immediately." Chun watched as alien after alien appeared on screen. The HFY representative, a tall reptilian creature, was speaking in angry tones. The Kithara delegate, a floating jellyfish-like being, was demanding that humans honor their trade agreements. The small furry plink representatives were chattering nervously about lost profits. "What did you tell them, Ambassador?" Chun asked. Torres looked directly into the camera. "I told them that humanity is no longer interested in their opinion. I explained that there is a difference between being unable to retaliate and choosing not to retaliate. Then I asked them to consider which one applied to humanity." Chun saw several alien delegates step backward when they heard this. The smart ones were starting to understand that something had changed. "Admiral," Dr. Kim said quietly, "there's something else the aliens don't know. Earth itself." Chun nodded grimly. This was the biggest secret of all. What about Earth? Torres asked from his ship. "The planet they think is our homeworld," Dr. Kim said. "The Earth they believe holds 8 billion humans. It's been empty for 20 years. Torres looked shocked, even though he had maximum security clearance. Kim continued her explanation. "We evacuated Earth's population gradually, moving people to hidden colonies in dark space. What the aliens see when they look at Earth is an elaborate hologram. The cities, the lights, the radio signals, all fake. We've been living in mobile space habitats that can move anywhere in the galaxy without being detected." Chun watched Torres absorb this information. Even human diplomats hadn't known the full truth. "The Earth they could attack," Chun said, "is just an empty stage. But they don't know that. They think they're dealing with a young species that's tied to one world." The communication alert sounded again. This time, it was Captain Vasquez, reporting from the Prometheus as it approached Earth's solar system. "Admiral," Vasquez said, "I'm seeing massive fleet movements throughout Confederation space. It looks like multiple species are mobilizing their military forces." "Expected," Chun replied. "They think we're going to start a traditional war. They're preparing to fight human ships with alien ships, human soldiers with alien soldiers. Dr. Kim smiled for the first time since the crisis began. They still don't understand what we've built. They think technology is about making better weapons. Humans think technology is about making warfare completely one-sided. Chun turned back to Ambassador Torres. David, I want you to deliver one final message to the Confederation Council. What should I tell them, Admiral? Chun thought about the families on New Eden, about children who would never grow up, about farmers who would never harvest another crop, about the HFY leaders who thought killing humans would make them back down. Tell them that humanity's red line was very clearly marked. Tell them we warned everyone what would happen if it was crossed. Tell them that what comes next is not war. War implies that both sides have a chance to win. Torres nodded and cut the communication link. Chun turned to Dr. Kim. Doctor, are all Guardian arrays ready for activation? Yes, Admiral. Every array is powered up and waiting for your command. And our mobile fleets? Hidden throughout the galaxy. The aliens have no idea where they are or how many ships we actually have. Chun looked at the countdown timer on the main screen. In 4 hours, humanity would stop being peaceful. The galaxy was about to learn that humans had spent 50 years preparing for this exact moment. Begin final preparations, Chun ordered. And may God have mercy on anyone who threatens our people. The room filled with the quiet sound of officers carrying out orders. Humanity's revenge was about to begin. Admiral Chun stood before the master control panel in Earth's Defense Command Center. Around him, hundreds of officers waited in complete silence. The countdown timer showed 30 seconds until Guardian Array activation. This is for New Eden, Chun said quietly. Then he pressed the activation button. Across human space, hidden weapons platforms that have been disguised as communication relays and mining stations suddenly came alive. The Guardian arrays had been waiting for this moment for decades. Now they were free to do what they were designed for. Captain Elena Vasquez was aboard her new ship, the Dreadnought Retribution, when the arrays activated. Through her view screen, she could see flashes of light in the distance as the weapons began their work. Ma'am, her tactical officer reported. Guardian Array 7 has just eliminated a HFY supply convoy. 12 ships destroyed in 4 seconds. Vasquez nodded. Continue monitoring all array activities. I want to know every target they hit. The HFY Empire had prepared for war by moving their military fleets to defensive positions. They had fortified their shipyards and armed their space stations. They were ready to fight human soldiers and human ships. But the Guardian arrays weren't targeting HFY military forces. They were targeting something much more important. The supply lines that kept HFY civilization running. Dr. Kim watched the tactical display from Earth's command center. Red dots showed HFY positions throughout the galaxy. Green flashes indicated successful Guardian Array attacks. Admiral, she said to Chun, Array 15 just destroyed the main food transport route to the HFY core worlds. That's 3 billion people who will run out of food in 2 weeks. Chun nodded without emotion. Continue. Array 23 eliminated their primary medical supply convoys. Array 41 destroyed their fuel refineries. Array 7 took out their civilian communication network. Within 6 hours, the HFY Empire's economy had completely collapsed. Food wasn't moving. Medicine wasn't moving. Fuel wasn't moving. Information wasn't moving. The empire that had ruled space for thousands of years was suddenly helpless. Captain Vasquez received new orders as her ship moved through space. All vessels, this is Admiral Chun. Phase 2 is now active. Begin hunting operations. Vasquez smiled grimly. Phase 2 meant that human ships would stop hiding and start actively hunting down any remaining HFY presence in space. Helm, she ordered. Set course for the HFY mining station in Sector 7. Maximum speed. The retribution was not like the research ships humans had built before. It was a weapon of war, designed using 50 years of stolen alien technology. Its hull was made of materials that could absorb energy weapons. Its engines could outrun any known alien ship. Its weapons could destroy an entire space station with one shot. When they reached the mining station, Vasquez was surprised to find it still operating normally. The HFY workers inside had no idea what was happening to their empire. "Open a communication channel," she ordered. The station commander appeared on screen. He was a typical HFY, tall, reptilian with cold yellow eyes. "Human vessel, you are in violation of Confederation space law. Withdraw immediately." Vasquez looked at him calmly. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the Terran Defense Force. Your species crossed humanity's red line when you destroyed New Eden Colony. This station and everyone in it will be eliminated." The HFY commander laughed. "Foolish human. This station is protected by defense platforms and patrol ships. You are just one ship against." His words were cut off as the Retribution fired its main weapon. The mining station, its defense platforms, and its patrol ships simply disappeared. Where they had been, there was now only empty space and a few glowing particles. "Target eliminated," Vasquez reported to command. "Moving to next target." This pattern repeated across HFY space. Human ships appeared without warning, destroyed everything HFY, and vanished back into the darkness. The attacks were not random. They followed a careful plan designed to completely erase the HFY empire. Dr. Kim monitored the progress from Earth. "Admiral, Phase 2 operations are proceeding perfectly. We've eliminated 80% of HFY infrastructure. Their remaining populations are cut off from all supplies." Chun watched the reports flow in. HFY military bases destroyed. HFY colonies evacuated, then sterilized. HFY trade routes non-existent. HFY government hiding in bunkers on their homeworld. "What about civilian casualties?" Chun asked. "Minimal. We're giving them time to evacuate before we destroy their installations. Most are fleeing to refugee camps in neutral space." Chun nodded. Humans weren't monsters. They didn't enjoy killing innocents. But they would completely eliminate any threat to human civilians. The Confederation Council finally realized what was happening when the HFY Empire's representatives stopped attending meetings. Ambassador Torres reported that other alien species were becoming nervous. "Admiral," Torres said from his ship, "the Githar delegation is asking if humanity intends to attack other species. They seem worried." Chun activated the communication system and broadcast a message to every alien government in the galaxy. "This is Admiral Chun of the Terran Defense Force," he said. His voice was calm and cold. "We are not conquering the HFY Empire. We are deleting it. Any species that provided aid, intelligence, or support for the attack on New Eden will receive the same treatment. We are not interested in negotiations, surrenders, or apologies. We are only interested in results." The message ended, and Chun turned back to the tactical display. The HFY Empire was almost gone. In just 2 weeks, a civilization that had existed for thousands of years was being systematically erased from the galaxy. Captain Vasquez received her final hunting assignment, the HFY homeworld itself. Her fleet of 12 human dreadnoughts dropped out of hyperspace near the planet where the HFY species had first evolved. "Ma'am," her communications officer said, "we're receiving a transmission from the planet. Is the HFY Emperor himself. Put him on screen." The Emperor was an ancient HFY, covered in scars from old battles. His voice shook as he spoke. "Human Commander, we surrender. We yield completely. Please, spare our homeworld." Vasquez looked at him without pity. Your Majesty, 2 weeks ago you could have prevented this. You chose to kill innocent humans to make a point. Now we are making a point of our own. But our civilians will be evacuated. You have 24 hours to move everyone off planet. After that, your homeworld will be destroyed. The Emperor's face showed complete defeat. Where will we go? Our empire is gone. Our ships are destroyed. We have nothing left. That, Vasquez said, is the point. Humanity's red line was clearly marked. You chose to cross it. These are the consequences. The transmission ended. 24 hours later, the last HFY transport ships lifted off from their homeworld. Captain Vasquez waited until she was certain the planet was empty. Then she gave the order to fire. The HFY homeworld died in a flash of light that could be seen from 100 light years away. Where their species had been born, where their civilization had begun, there was now only an expanding cloud of radioactive gas. The HFY Empire was extinct. The species that had thought humans were weak had learned the truth too late. Humans weren't weak. They were patient. And when their patience ended, they were absolutely unstoppable. The galaxy watched in horror as news spread about the HFY homeworld's destruction. For thousands of years, the HFY had been one of the most powerful species in known space. Now they were completely extinct. The few survivors living as refugees had no ships, no weapons, and no home to return to. Ambassador David Torres sat in his ship near the Confederation capital, reading reports from across the galaxy. The alien species that made up the Confederation were panicking. They had never seen anything like humanity's response to the New Eden attack. "Sir," his communications officer said, "we're receiving an urgent message from the Cathara High Council. They want to meet with you immediately." Torres nodded. The Cathara were one of the oldest and wisest species in the galaxy. If they wanted to talk, it meant they understood how serious this situation had become. The meeting took place aboard a neutral space station. The Cathara delegation consisted of 3 floating jellyfish-like beings who spoke through telepathic translators. Their leader, an ancient being called the First Speaker, seemed deeply troubled. "Ambassador Torres," the First Speaker said, "your species has done something unprecedented. You have completely eliminated another spacefaring civilization in less than 1 month. The Confederation Council is concerned." Torres looked at the alien beings calmly. The HFY crossed humanity's red line. They killed innocent civilians to make a political point. We told everyone 50 years ago what would happen if anyone did that. But total extinction? Another Cathara asked. "Surely your people could have shown mercy?" "Mercy?" Torres laughed bitterly. "Tell me, First Speaker, how much mercy did the HFY show the children on New Eden? How much mercy did they show the farmers and teachers who were burned alive?" The First Speaker was quiet for a moment. Then he asked a question that everyone in the galaxy wanted answered. What does humanity intend to do next? Torres activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy. Red markers appeared on dozens of star systems. These systems provided support for the HFY attack on New Eden, Torres explained. The Cathara Confederation provided sensor data that helped the HFY locate our colony. The Melody Trade Union supplied fuel for their attack fleet. The Plink merchants carried communication equipment that coordinated the attack. The Cathara leaders looked at the display in growing horror. "You cannot seriously intend to destroy all of these civilizations." "We don't want to destroy them," Torres said quietly. "We want them to take responsibility for their actions. Every being who helped the HFY kill human civilians will face justice." Back on Earth, Admiral Chun was coordinating the next phase of operations. Dr. Kim stood beside him, monitoring human fleets as they moved toward their new targets. "Admiral," she said, Our intelligence indicates that several Confederation members are forming a military alliance against us. They're calling it the Defensive Civilization Coalition. Chun smiled coldly. How many ships? Nearly 10,000 vessels from 15 different species. It's the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. And they think this will help them? Dr. Kim shook her head. They still don't understand what we've built, Admiral. They're thinking about this like a traditional war between equals. Chun activated the strategic display. It showed the positions of human forces throughout the galaxy. To anyone watching, it would look like humans were badly outnumbered. They were wrong. Dr. Kim, Chun said, show me the real numbers. The display changed, revealing the true extent of human military power. The Guardian arrays were only part of humanity's secret. Hidden throughout the galaxy were mobile shipyards, weapons factories, and entire fleets that have been invisible to alien sensors. 12,000 human warships, Dr. Kim reported. Each one built using technology from every alien species we've encountered. Each one capable of destroying traditional alien vessels with a single shot. Chun nodded. Humans had spent 50 years pretending to be peaceful traders and explorers. In reality, they had been preparing for exactly this kind of conflict. Captain Elena Vasquez commanded one of the human strike forces moving toward Kithara space. Her mission was different from the HFY operation. The Kithara had only provided information to support the attack on New Eden. They hadn't directly participated in the killing. So they would receive a more limited response. Captain, her tactical officer reported. We're approaching the Kithara research station in the Veil Nebula. This is where they developed the sensors that helped locate New Eden. Vasquez studied the readings. The station was home to 3,000 Kithara scientists and support staff. It was also the center of their advanced technology research. Open a channel to the station, she ordered. The station commander appeared on screen. Unlike the HFY, the Kithara were known for being logical and peaceful. Human vessel, the commander said. I am Research Director Zelen. Why have you come to our facility? Vasquez looked at the alien scientist. Director, your people provided sensor technology that helped the HFY locate and destroy New Eden colony. 2 million humans died because of information your people supplied. Zelen's jellyfish-like body shimmered with distress colors. We only provided scientific data. We had no idea it would be used for such a purpose. Perhaps not, Vasquez agreed. But the data came from your station. The responsibility is yours. She paused, then continued in a gentler voice. We are not going to kill you, Director. But this station will be destroyed. You have 6 hours to evacuate all personnel. Zelen looked relieved and terrified at the same time. And then? Then your people will remember that helping someone attack human civilians has consequences, even if you didn't intend for it to happen. Similar scenes played out across Kithara space. Research stations were evacuated and destroyed. Trading posts were shut down. Military bases were eliminated. The Kithara weren't being driven extinct like the HFY, but their civilization was being severely damaged. The Melody received even harsher treatment. Their trade ships had directly refueled the HFY fleet. Before the attack on New Eden, Admiral Chun classified this as active support for mass murder. Captain, Vasquez's fleet intercepted a Melody convoy, carrying medical supplies to refugee camps. The convoy commander, a small rodent-like being, pleaded for mercy. Please, humans, he said through the communication link. We are carrying medicine for sick children. Surely you cannot attack a medical mission. Vasquez felt a moment of sympathy. Then she remembered the children of New Eden who would never grow up because of what the Melody had done. You should have thought about sick children before you helped murderers, she said. Jettison your medical cargo. Other ships will pick it up and deliver it safely. And our ships? Your ships will be destroyed. Your crews will be placed in escape pods and left for rescue. Consider yourselves lucky. The Zephyhi don't get escape pods. The pattern continued throughout the galaxy. Every species that had aided the attack on New Eden faced human justice. The punishment varied based on how much they had helped. But the message was always the same. Humanity remembered everything. And humanity never forgave Dot as the weeks passed. The Confederation Council grew increasingly desperate. The massive fleet they had assembled to fight humans was still gathering near the capital world. But intelligence reports suggested it might not be enough. The first speaker of the Cathara sent one final message to Ambassador Torres. Your species is destroying the foundation of galactic civilization. You cannot simply eliminate everyone who opposes you. Torres looked tired as he replied. First speaker, we didn't want to destroy anything. We wanted to live in peace and grow our colonies. But you all decided to teach us a lesson about knowing our place in the galaxy. Well, we've learned that lesson. And we've decided to teach you one in return. What lesson is that? Torres smiled sadly. That there are consequences for crossing humanity's red line. And that those consequences are absolute. The Confederation's final fleet gathered near Earth's solar system like an angry swarm. 10,000 ships from 15 different species, all united by fear and desperation. They had come to destroy humanity's homeworld before humans could destroy any more civilizations. Admiral Corax of the Melody commanded the fleet from his flagship. He was a veteran of dozens of space battles, but he had never seen anything like what humans had done to the galaxy. Entire civilizations had been crippled or destroyed in just 2 months. All ships, prepare for attack, Corax ordered. We must strike quickly before the humans can activate their defensive systems. The massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Earth, ready to rain destruction on humanity's birth world. What they found waiting for them defied all logic and understanding. Earth was gone. Where the planet should have been? There was something impossible. A massive artificial structure that stretched across millions of kilometers. It looked like a combination of space station and weapon platform, built on a scale that dwarfed anything ever created by galactic civilization. By the Ancient Ones, whispered Corax's tactical officer. What is that thing? Before Corax could answer, the structure began to speak. Admiral Chun's voice echoed across every ship in the Confederation fleet. Welcome to Sol System, Chun said calmly. You have come here to destroy what you believe is humanity's homeworld. I regret to inform you that you are approximately 20 years too late. On the bridge of his hidden command ship, Chun watched the alien fleet's confusion through long-range sensors. Dr. Kim stood beside him, monitoring the massive Guardian Array that had replaced Earth. The Sol System Guardian Array is our most advanced construction. Chen continued his broadcast. It has the power to destroy your entire fleet in approximately 37 seconds. However, I prefer to use this time to educate you instead. Captain Elena Vasquez was aboard the Retribution, hidden in the asteroid belt with the rest of the human fleet. She watched as the aliens tried to understand what they were seeing. Dr. Kim, she said through the communication link. How long has Earth been empty? Kim's voice came back clearly. We completed the evacuation 23 years ago, Captain. The planet you aliens have been looking at since then was an elaborate hologram. Every city, every light, every radio signal, all fake. Chun resumed his explanation to the shocked alien fleet. For 50 years, you assumed humans were tied to one world, dependent on one star system. This was an understandable mistake. Most species develop that way. But humans are different. We adapt. We plan. We prepare for every possibility. Admiral Corax tried to maintain his composure. Human leader, he broadcast back. We have come to end your species' rampage across the galaxy. Surrender now, and we may show mercy." Chun's laughter echoed through space. "Admiral Corax of the Melody Trade Union, your people provided fuel for the ships that burned New Eden. Did you show mercy to the children who died in those flames?" Corax fell silent. Around him, his officers looked increasingly worried. "You want to know where humanity really lives?" Chun asked. "Dr. Kim, show them." The space around the Confederation fleet suddenly filled with light as hundreds of human ships decloaked. But these weren't ordinary vessels. They were mobile cities, each one capable of supporting millions of people and manufacturing entire fleets of warships. "Humans are nomads now," Chun explained. "We live between the stars, moving wherever we choose. We have no fixed planets to attack, no permanent cities to destroy. We are everywhere and nowhere." Captain Vasquez received her orders and moved the Retribution closer to the alien fleet. Through her view screen, she could see the massive Guardian array powering up its weapon systems. "Admiral Corax," Chun said, "your fleet represents the combined military might of 15 species. It is impressive. It is also completely inadequate." The Guardian array fired a single focused burst of energy. The beam passed harmlessly through the center of Corax's fleet, but its message was clear. Humans could have destroyed every ship instantly if they had chosen to. "That was a demonstration," Chun said. "Now let me show you what human technology can really do." Space around the Confederation fleet began to distort. Reality seemed to bend and twist as massive gravity weapons activated. Several of the alien ships simply vanished, transported into parallel dimensions where they would drift forever. Others found their hulls being consumed by nanomachine swarms that converted matter directly into more weapons. The most unlucky ships discovered their crews aging rapidly as time acceleration. Fields stripped decades from their lives in seconds, but the humans weren't trying to kill the fleet. They were making a point. "Every weapon we just demonstrated," Chen said, "was built using technology we learned from your species. SciFi plasma systems, improved and perfected. Kithara sensors, turned into targeting systems. Melody gravity drives, converted into weapons of mass destruction." Admiral Corax watched his mighty fleet being toyed with like children's toys. "What do you want?" he asked desperately. "Justice," Chun replied simply. Dr. Kim activated another system, and holographic images appeared around every ship in the alien fleet. The images showed the ruins of New Eden, burned cities, melted farms, the radioactive crater where a school had once stood. 2.3 million humans died here, Chun said. Farmers and their families, teachers and their students, people who had never hurt anyone, who wanted only to grow food and live in peace. The images changed, showing the faces of the dead. Children who had been playing in parks. Elderly people who had been tending gardens. Young parents who had been planning their futures. The HFY Empire is extinct, Chun continued. Every being who provided direct support for their attack has been eliminated. But that is not enough. Captain Vasquez received a priority message from Admiral Chun. It contained coordinates for a new location in space, far from any star system. "Captain," Chun said privately, "take your fleet to the designated coordinates. Begin construction of the memorial array." Vasquez nodded and gave the orders. Her ships disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the Confederation fleet alone with the sole Guardian array. "Admiral Corax," Chun said, "I want you to send a message to every government, every species, every being in the galaxy. Tell them that humanity's red line remains exactly where it has always been. No attacks on human civilians will be tolerated. And if someone crosses this line again, then what happened to the HFY will happen to them. We do not give second chances. We do not forgive. We do not forget. The massive Guardian array began to power down, its demonstration complete. "Your fleet is free to leave," Chun said. "Return to your worlds. Tell your people what you have seen here. Tell them that humans are no longer the weak species they thought we were." Admiral Korax gave the order to retreat. As his battered fleet limped away from Earth's solar system, he tried to understand what had just happened. Humanity had revealed that they were not the victims everyone thought them to be. They were predators who had been pretending to be prey. 3 days later, Captain Vasquez stood on the bridge of the Retribution as her fleet completed construction of the memorial array. The device floated in the exact location where New Eden had once orbited its star. Memorial array construction complete, her engineering officer reported. All systems are active. The array created a sphere of absolute protection around the space where New Eden had been. No ship could enter. No signals could pass through. It served as humanity's gravestone for 2 million innocent people and their promise to the galaxy. "This is what happens when you cross us." Dr. Kim sent a final message to every government in the galaxy. The New Eden Memorial Array will remain active forever. It will serve as a reminder that humanity protects its own, and that actions have consequences. Admiral Chun broadcast one last statement from his command ship. "Humanity is returning to normal diplomatic and trade relations with all species who wish peace. We bear no grudge against those who had nothing to do with the attack on our people. But let this be clearly understood. We are not the same species we were before you crossed our red line. We have learned that the galaxy respects only strength. So we have become strong. The crisis was over. The galaxy returned to its normal routines of trade and exploration. But everything had changed. Alien species now looked at humans differently. They saw the merchant ships and research vessels. But they also remembered the fleets that could appear from nowhere and erase entire civilizations. Children in alien schools learn new lessons about the strange species called humans. They seemed peaceful, but they were the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. They would trade with you, learn from you, and live alongside you in perfect harmony, right up until you threatened their families. Then they would hunt you to extinction with the patience of a glacier and the precision of a machine. The Zephyhi had learned this lesson too late. They had crossed humanity's red line and discovered that some lines should never be crossed. The galaxy had learned to fear the humans who smiled and spoke of peace. Because now everyone knew the truth. Humans weren't weak. They had just been waiting for someone to give them a reason to show their true strength. And when that reason came, they had been absolutely relentless.